Hello, my name is Safa Biradar, and my topic for my STEM summer research project is designer babies. Here's my table of contents. In 2018, the first designer babies to ever be known of were born. But what exactly are designer babies? Well, designer babies are babies who had their embryos genetically modified before their birth to enhance or choose certain properties of theirs, such as how they look, their IQ, and their athleticness. Ha Jianku illegally created the first genetically modified babies by creating false documents, misleading the children's parents about the risks, and more. These babies are two Chinese girls who are referred to as Lulu and Nana for their privacy. In November 2018, Ha Jianku held a conference discussing his project regarding these two girls, as he had been working on it in secret for 2 years. Afterwards, he was arrested and put behind bars for the various crimes he committed to be able to complete his project in secret. Ha Jianku was able to create the first designer babies by using a certain tool to genetically edit their genes, CRISPR, otherwise known as clustered, regularly interspaced short palindromic repeats. This technology was co-invented by Jennifer Doudna, who is part of a research project with the goal of finding out how bacteria fight viral infections. During this project, Doudna discovered CRISPR, which is an immune system that many bacteria have that allows them to detect and destroy viral DNA. Cas9 is a protein that is part of CRISPR that seeks out, cuts, and destroys viral DNA in a certain way. During this research project, it was discovered that Cas9 could be harnessed to perform genetic engineering. This is because Cas9 is programmable, meaning that Cas9 can be easily programmed to edit different areas of DNA by inserting or destroying DNA. This technology has already been used on animals, such as mice, as well as Lulu and Nana, as mentioned previously. However, Jennifer Doudna does not currently want her technology to be used on humans. Doudna says, this, CRISPR, raises a number of ethical questions that we have to carefully consider. And this is why I and my colleagues have called for a global pause in any clinical application of the CRISPR technology in human embryos to give us time to really consider all of the various implications of doing so. As she later says in an interview, Doudna finds it uncomfortable to take a step back from using her technology. But due to the prospect of designer babies and more, she believes that it would be the responsible thing to do to take a step back and let other people decide their sides on the ethics of using CRISPR for things such as designer babies. There are mainly two arguments regarding designer babies, one for and one against them. Some people believe that designer babies should be allowed and created, as these babies could have a higher IQ, be more athletic, be less prone to disease, and really just be healthier in general. These people support designer babies as all of the above would most likely lead to a better life for that child. These children would have longer lifespans, more job opportunities, and more. However, not everybody agrees that designer babies are the best idea, especially considering society as a whole's impact from them. This is because designer babies could potentially create class divisions between designer and non-designer people. In addition, designer babies in existence could create greater class divisions between the rich and the poor, as the poor would not be able to afford designer babies as much. Some people also fear that designer babies could be had so that parents can avoid having a minority, such as a woman, as a child, which would create greater class divisions in that regard. Some people also have concerns for the individual babies as well. This is because if mistakes are made while editing an embryo, not only would the designer baby be affected, but so would future children of theirs. Due to CRISPR being so relatively new and powerful, unpredictable and harmful mistakes could easily be made. In fact, researchers at the Francis Crick Institute in London discovered that about 16% of genetically edited embryos were found to have accidental mutations, meaning that they were edited in an unintentional and possibly harmful way. If these children were born with harmful mutations, these mutations could also be passed down to their future children of theirs by inheriting their DNA. Due to the arguments against designer babies, creating them is illegal in many countries. However, as they're not illegal in all countries, they could technically be legally created in certain areas, meaning that the future impact of these babies might not be as so far off as believed. Some believe that designer babies could also be eventually pushed for by governments due to their higher IQs and lower healthcare costs over benefiting the country. In addition, creating designer babies today has become more accessible due to CRISPR being found in more and more labs. All in all, a future of designer babies isn't too far off, and it's important to stay educated on this topic. Thank you. And here's my, we're excited.